I thought she had a minute, like she did a minute and a half.
Not bad.
Okay. You got my numbers?
No, but I'll get it.
Okay. Oh, thank you. 2 more. Okay.
I'll get it from BJ.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
I don't know what else I did.
1 minute.
No, David's zooming in. She's opened it.
That's right. Oh, okay, there we go.
Yeah, there he is.
You can miss one.
Right.
He can miss a meeting. No, that's his job. That's right. That's what we pay him to do. Yeah, exactly.
There's no vacation.
So we pay him to do. Yeah, exactly.
No, there's no vacation.
Hey, David.
Oh, man.
Hello.
We can hear you.
You got a margarita.
Oh, he's reading it. He's frozen.
You're frozen. Can you hear us?
There we go.
Oh.
He's in and out.
Yep.
What is this? No shake July?
Okay, we'll get started. Right, we're going to call to order the City Council regular meeting Thursday, July 20th, 2023 at 5 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pastor Campbell.
Father, we come to you thanking you so much for the privilege of being able to live here in this community. Lord, we pray for our city leaders that you would give them wisdom and discernment. Lord, thank you for their heart for our community. We ask that you give them wisdom in their decisions. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we will start our meeting. Item 3, citizen comments and reports. We have 3 people signed up to speak, and we'll start with Michael Bowler. Just come up, state your name and your address, and you have 3 minutes, sir.
Okay, my name is Michael Bowler. I live on 508 Station Street, Kansas. My background's in construction, so I've done a lot of land development and talked to a lot of traffic engineers and stuff. My concern is to bring up the fact that we're having quite a few accidents on E and Station Street too. And the reason for that is quite simple. You can't see the stop sign sometimes. At certain times of the day, the sun goes like this. The stop sign on 10th Street and the stop sign on Trojan light up. But the one on Station Street's in the shadow. And you can see it, but it's in the shadow, so your eyes don't get drawn to it. So proposal I'm thinking of is putting some crosswalks and maybe write down stop sign there to prevent further accidents, because we've had quite a few there that are bad. That's basically all I have to say.
Thank you
Any
very much.
questions or no? Okay.
Thanks. All right. Next, Felicia Foster.
Hello, good evening. Thank you, Council, for your time and dedication to this community. My name is Felicia Foster. I live at 315 Oleander, Unit 1A. I'm the owner of Barron Custom Design and a board member of the Port Aransas Preservation Historical Association. I'd like to talk about impervious cover. Impervious cover is anything that prevents rainwater from filtering through the soil, filtering through into the soil and replenishing our Mustang Island aquifer. We're talking about rooftops, roads, sidewalks, parking lots, driveways, even unpaved parking. Decks, patios, pools, AC condensers, extended overhangs can also limit the amount of rainwater that penetrates the surface. 25 years ago, Dr. Richard Watson, PhD, prepared a report for the city of Port Aransas about shallow water wells and groundwater. I have a copy. I didn't print copies for everybody, but I'm happy to hand this off. I highly encourage each of y'all to read it. And keep in mind, it was written 25 years ago. So our community has grown exponentially, and so has the impervious cover. The increase in impervious cover has led to higher amounts of pollutants entering our waterways, more stormwater runoff, overtaxing our system, which we all know about that. Higher heat loads in denser areas, less street parking. Right now, somebody can pave the entire front of their lot. And so it eliminates any street parking for anybody else in the community. So essentially taking over their entire lot for parking. More flooding, both in the streets and in the individual yards. And ultimately, less water that replenishes the Mustang Island aquifer, which could result in saltwater intrusion or sinking, both discussed in Dr. Watson's report. Our newly adopted comprehensive plan references areas that we should address, and it has so much packed into it. I'm still going through it and picking out little bits and pieces, but environmental stewardship, resilient design, flood mitigation. There's just so much in there that it's telling us we need to look at. Impervious cover is a low-hanging fruit. It's something very easily we can do. We can look at starting with a higher limit, obviously, and then kind of work from there, depending on the use and how the impervious cover is going to be, what type of use, if it's a commercial or residential, and so anyone that drives our streets today can see that, our grass areas have been replaced with concrete just in the time that I've been here. So just consider what our community will look like in another 25 years without an impervious cover limit. I know everyone's focused on parking, but if we don't have enough parking, then maybe they'll use our parking lot. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, lastly, Cliff Strain.
Hello, I'm Cliff Strain. I'm the executive director of PAFA, and all y'all. And it's going to be very short because we were very busy in the museum. We had over 50 people, 45 signed in, and I'm happy to say 40 of them were staying in short-term rentals and or hotels because we have that data now. But I'm really here just to remind you to consider budgeting in some money for preservation in the Old Town area. And also, and if you have any questions about our particular funding request, please contact me. I hope to talk to each one of you before you have your final budget workshop. But we really are looking toward, and it's interesting how Reverend Campbell mentioned wisdom. We're really depending on your group to have the wisdom to kind of and this is the perfect opportunity. I really feel we're at the turning point in the development of this town to where we can be just a little bit better and smarter about development and things like having some permeable ground rules. That's part of the greener spaces, part of the beauty of Old Town, but it goes so much further to the functionality of preventing floods and a variety of other things. And so I'm hoping that you'll consider those things, because I really feel like I'm hoping that this city council will be a group that's going to make it a better place to live and visit by making just a few tweaks and changes in the way we develop. I'm not saying stop development, but I'm saying let's develop smarter, and things like permeable ground and doing some preservation in Old Town, I think is going to help us get there. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Cliff. Okay. That closes the citizen comments and reports. Next is item 4, executive session. Section 551071 of the Texas Open Meetings Act, to meet with the attorney to seek legal advice on a manner in which the duty of the attorney to the city council under the Texas disciplinary rules of professional conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with the Open Meetings Act. And relating to the item that was put on the agenda is Beach Access Road B. Before we close, I want to ask David if there is an update to require us to go into closed session.
No, no update for closed session.
Okay. Then if there's no item, then I propose that we do not go into closed executive session and move on to the regular agenda, which is item 6, the consent agenda. And have time to review that. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, is there a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Fran, please call the roll.
Yes.
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Chairperson Owen,
Yes.
Councilmember Winton,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, item 7, items for consideration. First, item B is a resolution authorizing a venue project pursuant to Chapter 334 Texas Local Government Code as amended, designating methods of financing for the project subject to the voter approval and other matters in connection therewithin. All right, are you presenting this item,
I
Darla?
can. This
Okay.
is just what we need to pass a resolution to send to the comptroller so that they can give an opinion that the rec center would qualify as a venue project for the 2% hotel tax. If we decide to call an election next month to go to the voters for that in November, we need to get this to them prior to that.
Is this the rec center sportsplex?
Yes,
et
ma'am.
cetera? Okay.
And
So-
this would be an additional 2% hotel tax that would support that venue construction.
So if council recalls, this item we discussed last month, so this was the next step in moving forward to putting that on a voter approved ballot, which we would make that decision next month, but this is the next step to get the process rolling, so. Does anyone have any questions about the wording of the resolution? Any of the items in the resolution? Okay. All right, hearing none, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right,
I'll second.
okay, any further discussion? Fran, please call the roll.
Councilmember Winton,
Yes.
Chairperson Owen,
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
No.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford,
Yes.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right. Item C, authorizing an intergovernmental cooperative purchasing agreement with TIPS Purchasing Cooperative offered by Region 8 Education Service Center, approving the terms and conditions and authorizing city manager to sign all documents associated with said agreement. Darla, you want to give us a?
So TIPS is another one of those purchasing co-ops like HDAC, Buy Board, Goodbye that we're members of. We are putting this on the agenda in anticipation of possibly going in with Enterprise Fleet that we discussed at the council goals workshop. So we want to join TIPS and then we would bring back to you later the Enterprise agreement. Their Enterprise is a member of TIPS and Sourcewell. So we were looking at TIPS that better fit our needs better.
So I have a question. If we decide for whatever reason not to go into the agreement with Enterprise, or we pull out of the agreement with Enterprise in a couple of years or something, I'm assuming there are other benefits to joining this.
There are,
right?
because it's just like the other purchasing co-ops, things are pre-bid. And if we have an item that is pre-bid that we're interested in the TIPS contract, we would utilize that contract to purchase.
So either way, whatever we decide on the other
It's a
item,
good-
it's a good
right.
decision. All right. Staff recommends, I'm assuming.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
I'll make a
Council-
motion to approve.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right. There's a first and a second. Any further discussion? Fran, please call the roll.
Councilmember Crawford,
Yes.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Chairperson Owen,
Yes.
Councilmember Winton,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right. I believe item D has been pulled. We're not quite ready to.
Correct.
Okay.
We're going to bring that back August 8th.
Okay. All right. Moving on. Item E. It's a resolution approving a change order number 3 for the Phase 2 Charlie's Pasture Shoreline Bulkhead Repairs FEMA Project 46842 and awarded to Shirley and Sons Construction Company, Inc. and a total amount of $762,735. Hello.
Hi. Yes, so as you all know, there's some activity going on out at the bulkhead right now, Charlie's Pasture. Unfortunately, there's some unforeseen conditions have come up that we weren't anticipating, that is causing us to do some emergency repairs, moving further down the bulkhead away from where the initial work was started. That's going to hopefully prevent any future failure. You know, you approved the $222,000 change order several months ago to address a area that was in imminent possibility of falling in. So that's been addressed. Unfortunately, it's got some other issues that are popping up. This change order addresses that location as well as 3 others that we feel as though are potentially have problems, and we're trying to avoid those problems. So urban engineering is working right now to address some future problems on the site. What's contributing to this? There's some speculation, but it's all speculation at this point. We think we know what's going on, but we're not hydrologists. It's a convoluted type thing going on right now. This $762,000 addresses the known areas of concern right now, where the mud line is actually decreasing below the level of the concrete sheet piles. So that's what this addresses. There's some deduct in here for work that won't be performed based on the original scope of work, and some in the ads that address the additional work to hopefully alleviate any additional problems. So that's where we stand on this right now. So that's what this change order recognizes. Any questions?
And I know they're working on that area right now, and it seems like a pretty fluid thing, right? I mean, obviously they're putting the rock in, they're trying to get it down there. So if they need more, is there room in there to address that? Mr. Urban, would you like to come up?
Hey, why don't we get Jim up here to address this, because it's pretty fluid right now.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
this would be the guy to start talking.
Yeah, let me give you a little background. We started these projects 2002, finished up 2006. When we installed the bulkhead at that time, we didn't actually install it in deep water. We installed the bulkhead right at the interface between water and the rest. You know, we did it because over the last 50 years, ship wakes coming in there, eroding along there, and it was eroding away the shoreline. So it was a way to stop the erosion of the shoreline. Put them in, all was good, things going on. Really had just a little bit of, and the drawing I can point at, one of the ones just showed that corner right there where the pier, actually between 2002 and 2006, there was actually some kind of energy right here at this corner where the bulkhead is, where it was eroding around. Because if you've ever been out there, when the wave comes, it just peels around there. So as part of the 3rd phase, I think we actually went in there and did come this armor plating with rock in that corner. Never really had any problem on that. To be honest, between 2006 and Hurricane Harvey, I didn't go out there and measure. We haven't had an occasion to. Of course, Hurricane Harvey, there was all kinds of devastation out there with the sidewalk and the rest. And so a project was formed to try to deal with the sidewalk and also with the raising of this wall to try to prevent. During that initial assessment, we did measurements along that front of that wall about how deep it was, and it was apparent that there had been substantial erosion since 2002, but not enough to have grave concern, if you would, about it. So the design progressed, and we started doing this construction, and started down on the end next to where Paradise Corpse Point is, and way on down away from where we were, we have this failure. So we look at that, and it's washed out, and nothing's gone on since Harvey, really, other than just the natural progress of ship traffic and dredging and the rest. So we did this change order to fix it, thought, yeah, that'll be fine, and go in and progress on down. And then something else occurred right down in another area. We went and take shots again, and we're working on the midst of kind of a study that we're doing to get to David, Michael, and them, that shows that it's a very dynamic and fluid thing that's happening. Like, if you were that, here's where it was in 2002, and it took 20 or 30 years to come down, 20 years to come down. And now things are changing really fast. And we find ourselves reacting to it. You know, fix this, then over there. And we really did contemplate, well, do we just stand back and do nothing and not spend money and try to find the bigger solution and then go back? Or do we need to try to protect what's there, find the big solution for the 30, 50 years? And that's what we've concluded. We need to invest the money to protect so it doesn't roll over into there or break out and wash a big hole. But I've got to tell you that since we formed this change order a week ago, when did we start on this?
About 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago, more information is found, new areas come up, and we're out there. As a matter of fact, if you've been out there in the last couple of days, we're authorized to go ahead and spend some of the money and do it because we're so afraid of the new wall stuff we put in was going to be damaged. We're actually out there doing it from the funds that we're talking about tonight. I mean, it's that much peril. So I'm not here to tell you that we've got the answers. What we're telling you is we're asking for money to try to protect that. But I think this is a great time to say that, and we've talked to it internally, and I think David's been involved in the conversation, that there's a very dynamic, high energy situation going on out there that we need to reach out to, and we have actually reached out to KEPRA to try to find funds for a long-term solution. We probably should involve, you know, everybody we can from a federal and state level to try to get this, because it's not the city of Port Aransas that are out there causing the problem. And it's going to be an expense that's probably bigger than the taxpayers of Port Aransas should bear on that. And so I think it's important to do it, but in the process of trying to engage people to get funds and to do this, it's not going to be in the timeline to protect. And so we've got to protect, but we don't need to drag our feet on trying to find a solution. There's stuff in the works, and I don't want to go over tonight in public meeting and the rest about us trying to find a solution and what those solutions are. That's the purpose, and Anthony and I are going to do some kind of memory of what we do to get to that next point and how we approach that. And I think in future council meeting, we'll be prepared to bring that back to you. But it's you know, it's conditions that are, I mean, we were out there when yesterday, or the contractor was at that area where we raised the pier up another 4 feet, and we were, or 5 feet, and we raised the wall up 4 feet. And we've been watching them for the 1.5 to 2 years since we've been doing this, and never had any problem. But the day before yesterday, we didn't get an overwash of the pier, but we got water on top of the pier from a splash, and we got a splash over the top of that 4-foot wall at that pier. And it was a fast running ship, not being towed and the rest. So it's clear that you're going to have bigger, faster, more frequent passages. And so we need to take that into account, look at the dynamics of that, the hydraulic energies in that there, and fund that to do it the right way. And there's lots of different ways it could be done, but that's something that if we're going to maintain that area, we're going to have to do to have the 20-year, 30-year solution, 50-year solution. And it impacts all over. I mean, I don't know if y'all have been around, but I mean, many of y'all have been here for many, many years. I see areas along Island Moorings channels, erosion going up in there, and I see problems up along the Lydia Ann where things are happening. So we're not the only ones. Private marina areas are having that. There's just a lot of energy going in and out in that ship traffic. So we need to find a solution to protect the asset. So,
Jim, do you think too, also with the deepening of the ship channel, you know, with the efforts doing that along with everything else taking place is also contributing?
I think for every action, there's an equal reaction of some kind, you know. You know, anytime when we put the bulkhead back in there 20 years, that changes things about the erosion, the ability to feed sand from all the stuff behind. Everything changes. Man changes everything. So yes, I think it will. And if somebody could tell me exactly how many ships, how many, you know, this and what sea level rise, I mean, that has an impact on all these things have impact. So, you know, we have to take a look at it and look at it over 20 years from what it is and see where we go. Find somebody to fund it, We want to be here. We have a right to be here. You know, the port's going to be there and have ships. We ought to be able to coexist. We just need to find funding. So, I'll answer any questions or that.
Does it make, are you gonna continue to put stuff back where it is on the edge, or are you moving out further? Does it make any sense to come back? and
I hate to tease the solution because we haven't
Okay.
got there.
All right, we don't
I
know.
can tell you tonight, we're asking for money to protect.
Okay.
We are, I, as the engineer, are most concerned about protecting the newly constructed improvements and preserving the old improvements. So the money that you authorize, so if you so do tonight, we will make sure that the stuff that's there is protected. I will tell you this, I think we have to be in a position to kind of come time out for a minute to give the time to get the money and to get the design and get the plan to go forward. I don't want to build something that is brand new and expensive that has a risk of being lost. So that's the goal. Anything else?
No, that was my question, because I think it's going to take a little more than what we're approving tonight. So
Thank
just,
y'all for your time.
all right.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Jim. Appreciate
So
it.
ultimately, what's happening right now, you're approving the immediate fixes that we recognize. And Jim just explained, there may be more, unfortunately.
Mhm.
So, we are gonna probably change FEMA scope to allow us to do something other than was originally approved. It's fluid right now.
Okay.
This most recent thing happened last week.
Correct.
Last week, we were presented with what Jim just addressed this evening, which is the current work that's going on with the sidewalk and the elevation of the wall.
Today, the work we did today looks very positive and optimistic. A week from now, maybe back to the same number, because it's just, you don't know when you put something there, so we're watching.
And just before this meeting, we took a ride out to a ship came by. It's pretty dramatic what you see out there, what's going on. The force of the water is powerful, and it's doing a lot of stuff out there that it's kind of hard to anticipate. So there you go. So that's what this change order addresses.
Okay.
David did want me to, since he can't really hear him, that we just need to reestablish a working relationship with the port, and that, as Mark Winton's been working on this, and hopefully we can get that done. Hopefully this fall we can set up a meeting with the port.
Okay.
Are they aware this is happening? Does the port know? Do you have a counterpart at the port that?
I have not spoken to the court before. We didn't have a really relationship with the court recently, and I think we've kind of been battling each other, and I have that conversation with David. David is aware of it. I think more than anything, we can just say, I think the timing is right. I think the port, I'll tell you that the initial construction of this, the port was a participant in this and doing it. The GLO was a participant in it. We were a participant in it, and it was the right thing to do because everybody knew it was in everybody's interest. And we went a period of time where everybody's pointing and suing each other for various different reasons, and it wasn't a good time to work.
Right.
I think everybody's looking for a win right now, and I think David will tell you that, and Michael will tell you that. That's the discussions I've had, that the time is opportune. There's a lot of money in Kepra and GLO out there for projects. And I think the port would love to rekindle good relationships in our area. So I think there's an opportunity.
Thank you.
All right.
And
Any
the
other
financial-
questions for Cherry?
And the financial portion of all this will be what we're doing on our budget this year. I guess I'm reading it. So
Well, it's
special.
Can I say this?
Sure.
I was contacted by someone at the port here a couple of weeks ago, and I talked to Dave, and Dave was gonna contact him and set up a meeting, and he was hoping maybe for next month's, but not for sure.
Mhm.
So they are aware, and they do want to work with us. They do want to meet with us. So
Good.
hopefully we can see something coming.
Get a partnership. That's great.
This was built with Kepler funds,
Mhm.
and as David had just said, former Kepler project built this, so he knows all parties are going to want to get it fixed. Because it was
Right,
for
exactly. They're
by
originally
them.
paid for this way, so we don't want to see the destruction. So, yeah, and we've applied obviously for the grants to do some of this, but we need to do the fix sooner than we have grant money available. So we got to go forward. Makes sense.
And it will be hotel motel special. Check. Those funds are eligible to
I
pay for
meant to
this.
reach out to Charlie the other day because somebody hit the pilings again across the way at Fina Docks because they're not marked. The buoys are gone. And so I asked him and he called me right back. And the buoys are there now. And so they got that all straightened out.
That's good.
That's the second boat that's in.
All right, any other questions? Okay, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? All right, Fran, please call the roll.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes. All right, item F, presentation and general discussion from Broadus and Associates on Hurricane Harvey recovery.
Hi.
Hello.
Before I get started, I'd like to introduce a new member of the Broadus team. This is Mr. Paul Webb. He's the COO for Broadus Associates.
Recording in progress.
And he wanted to come to is that me?
No, David. He's got his speaker on.
I get some people here and show them some of the projects and introduce them to David and Darla in Lawrence. And so thank you, Mark, for attending and look forward to working with you in the future. All right, so the main thing that's happened in the last several weeks is public safety building across the street. So they're mobilizing. They put a temporary fence up yesterday. Lawrence is working and with Lieutenant Stokes to get the vehicles moved and some other paraphernalia over there. Victory is the contractor. They are planning on mobilizing next week. There's some things that need to take place as far as Connex boxes and the like. But they're excited about it. They're ready to move forward. This 395-day contract. I'm looking forward to getting this thing done. It's harmonious to the harbor master office. They're going to look similar. Since I brought up the harbor master office, that project is going well. Barcom is a wonderful company to work with. They've been very amicable as far as allowing the tournaments and the like to go on. They've been cleaning up the site, working real well. That project is on schedule. It's looking really good. If you had a chance to get over there lately, the roofs are going on. They're also putting new roofs on some of the other structures that you guys approved, the bid alternates to the project. Excited about this project. It's going real well. The EDA representative that I work with, he's excited about it. He's commented several times about it. It's a good project. It's terrific, actually. I'm excited about this one. The other project's gas. Let's talk about gas. So the gas project is moving forward. Not a lot of headaches. There's a couple of problems here and there, but they're all minor. Biggest issue right now we're having, and Lawrence is working with that, with the comments about the cable company here that is not. People see the drilling and the like, and they all associate it with Equix. So Equix is getting inundated with calls. The city is getting inundated with calls. They're not producing signs. I made some efforts today to try to find out who's doing does what over there. And some success, but not a lot. I hope to have some better resolution next week as to getting these guys to put signs out and recognizing what's going on. And anyway, it's kind of tough right now. Lawrence and I have been working with them, trying to get contact with the right people. It's tough. It's tough. So other projects, fire station, still moving forward with that one. Don't have everything in place yet on that, but Janak is working. They're 80% complete on their plans. The site still has to be solidified. I think David knows where he wants it, but Janak needs to be solid on it and move forward with that. I'm expecting to have finished plans, or at least 95% plans for approval within the next couple of weeks. So that's on the fire station. The public works building. That one, we're still in conversation with FEMA on that one. We don't have a solid obligation on that one yet, but we're still working forward on that. As far as any other projects, the nature preserve, the environmental and historical preservationist group within FEMA is causing us some delays on that. That is a tough group to get motivated and get them fired up and get them working quick. Fired up's the wrong word because they are fired up. That's one of the groups within FEMA that they just love what they do. But we're having trouble getting it into their queue. So you're gonna bear with us on this one a little longer. I don't have a good resolution to that. Michael has been in conversation with them. I haven't wasn't able to speak with him today to see what the most recent conversation he had with him, but we're working on that one. That's we provided them with some additional drawings for the observation towers out and the like, and the granite pathways and the like. Gave them that yesterday. Hopefully we'll be able to get some cost estimates from FEMA based on those drawings. Anything else to discuss? Any questions you may have? Roberts Point Park improvements, that's what I've discussed with the EDA. That's all the roof, re-roofing all of those pavilions and the like, the observation tower and the like. That's all going. That started this week. That's it. Any questions specific to any of these projects?
What was the completion date for Roberts Point Park?
Roberts Point Park,
The
November, middle November,
Okay.
middle November. Yes.
The utility company you said you're having issues with was cable? Cable? Is that?
It's
The-
Brightspeed.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Brightspeed and Spectrum. I was able to get to the second level of supervision with Brightspeed today. He gave me a number to call. I couldn't get in touch with them. I'm trying to find out what they're responsible for. Equix has to provide restoration. Anything they do, they have to restore. They pull up grass, and I'm glad you brought that up. The grass contractor stopped supplying grass because of drought. They don't want to cut any grass. So now Equix is having to look for an additional source of grass. That's a problem. So you may get some phone, hey, they didn't put my grass in. Well, they can't get it. So they're trying to get another location, somebody else that can provide them with grass. So that's a bit of an issue right now. But the cable company is doing drilling and similar work that Equix does. So residents think it's Equix because Equix has signs all over the place. The cable companies have no signs. At least I haven't seen any. So, and that's the word I'm getting from everybody. So everybody assumes it's Equix, and they're just not doing any restoration from what I gather. So I'm trying to get in touch with whatever entity is providing funds for this work. Who is that? Well, they had to have a contract, and they got to have specs for that contract. Trying to locate who that is, see the specs. They may not even require restoration. I don't know. I'm trying to find this out. It's a challenge because we started with a truck driver. Hey, who's your boss? I got that name, went to that guy. So I mean, it's tough. And you guys have no oversight on these people because you're not contracted. They're not contracting under you. And they're doing whatever the heck they want in your city.
I may can help some of the contact stuff. That's why I was asking. So.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody has some names that you can share with me, some contacts, I'd be glad to look into it. But right now, the last guy I called, I just left a message. His phone's not, his email hasn't been, his voicemail hasn't been set up. So I've been calling and calling. And so that's where, so I got through 3 people and I hit him, and that's the last spot I hit. And that's with,
We appreciate that, Terry, because we know that that's probably not part of Broadus's contract to go track down cable companies. So that's kind of going above and beyond your duty. We appreciate your efforts.
all right, well, that's it. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions? No?
All right.
Thank you very much. All right. Item G is a general update and discussion on Allister Park property. David, is there any update on item G? We're still in planning stages?
You're muted. Oh, you've got him down.
Colleen said they were still working ahead on the.
On the.
Yeah, still in design, sorry.
Okay.
Half's doing it.
All right, still in design. So maybe next month we'll have a little update. Okay, item H, resolution designating and appointing 2 city council members, the city manager, David Parsons, city secretary, Francisca Nixon, and the director of planning and development, Rick Adams, as signatories to the city's depository American Bank, and directing the city secretary to forward a certified copy of this resolution to the finance director for submittal to the above named depository.
The current signature card with American Bank has Rick, David, Francisca on it, but it also has Kelly, who is still on council, that has Tim Park. So we need to
replace Mr.
we need to
Park,
replace
I'm assuming.
Mr. Park with someone else.
Right.
In tradition, it was the mayor, but I know you have
That's
backed out of
right.
that
Yep.
assignment, so whoever you also choose to appoint.
Okay, is there a motion to add someone to replace?
I'll make a motion to approve a Councilman Crawford.
Okay,
You're right next door anyway.
I'm just right next to it.
is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Any further discussion? Fran, please call the roll.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bowman,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitten,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay. Item I, discuss and take possible action requesting a meeting with Texas Department of Transportation, TxDOT, to discuss concerns related to the speed limit on State Highway 361.
Councilmember Cooper? Oh, yeah, requested that again, to see, due to the number of wrecks that we've had in the last couple of months. And so Dave said we'd have to vote to have TxDOT come. I didn't know if anybody else had any questions for him or concerns, or the turn to the CVS, whatever. Anyway, that's why.
Are you talking about the
Well, let's-
wrecks inside the,
Yes.
this is speed limit, so I don't know.
Yes, inside.
Inside the
1A.
city limits sign,
Inside 1A.
inside 1A.
Yes,
Okay.
because Rick had asked them and they said they would up the speed limit, but they wouldn't lower it. And I thought since all the wrecks we had in front of Dollar General, the Texan, and the two, of course, way down there, that's different down there, but we had several inside that area.
Recently.
Yeah. And in front of Stripes, CVS. I mean, July was just a bang.
So you
banger.
want to lower it to what?
35, maybe. I mean, it's 35 at the post office. It goes from 45, but they're coming in at 60. LT, you got any ideas?
They passed me.
I mean, they're coming in.
70.
I mean, you can't get out. I mean, you sit there and then people take chances trying to get out and then you have a wreck. So, I mean, they just won't slow down.
You also risk them increasing the speed limit when they do their survey.
Oh, I didn't see Chief there.
Yeah.
Where'd you sneak in? Chief, you got any idea?
I don't.
I mean, they just won't slow down there. It goes from 45 to 35 and they're still going 60.
We doubled and redoubled our enforcement efforts
I
along
know.
the highway over the last several months. It's just gonna
Yeah.
take some time for the message to get out. I think. I notice as we come down the island road. That you start seeing brake lights when you hit the city limits. So the messages are getting out. Broader on, I mean, people are slowing down as they're hitting the city limits, but. There's three
Man.
speed limit changes once you get inside the city limits and. It's just gonna take that message, that constant
Yeah.
message, and I'd be worried. That TxDOT, because they base it on the average speed of the vehicles that are going through there, and they may increase the speed limit.
Yeah, I know. It goes to 45 right before the red light, then it stays at 45, and then it goes to 35 at the post office, right before.
Right in front of my salon, it goes, yeah.
And then they have another, it's 35.
35. Right in front of my salon, it's 35 all the way out.
there any signs that say reduce speed ahead, anything like that?
There is,
Driven up. Well, there's a,
There's one.
actually, I think there's a flashing light. right before-
Caution
Yeah.
35, yeah.
35.
Hey, it's gonna go 35, but there's.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything going from the
Where is
60 to the
Front of the
55.
post office, around the
Yeah,
post
or the
office.
It
That's
tells
how
you
it
it's
is.
going to be, but
Yeah.
there's none of those
Flat, yeah.
white with black letters that say reduce speed ahead. Is that our responsibility to put it up or TxDOT?
It's all.
TxDOT.
going through TxDOT.
So isn't Rick talking with TxDOT about putting things up for golf carts?
They've already-
Can he,
They've already got.
yeah,
Yeah,
can he add that since there's some dialogue about reduced speeds?
he
What would
talked to
help?
them about that.
Do they not want to do that?
No,
I don't think that it's they don't want to do it. I think Rick's comment was that, like the chief's point, that be careful because if you ask them what the next step typically is, when you ask them about a speed limit. The next step is for them to come in and do a traffic study. And when they come in and do a traffic study, very often what they find is that it's not necessary, or based on the traffic, you could increase the speed. So I don't think that they have told him specifically, we don't want to do it. I do not think that that's been formally asked to them.
Not that I'm aware of.
No.
But having reduced speed signs.
Well, I guess that
Not-
conversation was before all these wrecks happened too, this last few weeks.
Well, and text that, not that they're not safety focused. In fact,
Sure.
our
Yeah.
accident reports have gone from a one-page front and back to over 6 pages with supplements now.
Right.
To feed them data on traffic accidents and stuff statewide.
No, I get
So
it.
they're getting lots of data, but their focus is moving traffic.
No, I understand that.
Well, I think if it's our desire or the council's desire to address speed or to see if they would consider addressing speed, then I think that we can come up with a resolution, we can pass a resolution, we can present that. But I mean, if the agenda item said you wanted a meeting, request them to come to like a city council meeting.
Right.
So I mean, and I'm sure they'd be willing to do that if we ask Mike or Valente or one of the other engineers to come. But I think if we truly want to say, this is our request, then I think rather than ask them just to come and talk to them, then we come up with some resolution requesting a possible speed reduction.
But-
If that's what our ask is.
They're not
right? I mean,
reducing their speed now. They're not even slowing down to 45 now.
No.
That's
they're not.
correct.
So we
This-
can make it 35, they still ain't gotta slow down.
Exactly.
You're exactly right.
Slow. We got to find a way to get them to slow down.
Hey, every day that I'm turning in my salon, somebody passes me
Flashing
going
35.
70
Yeah.
at least, yeah.
I mean, last year, when was it, Dave? Yeah, last year before we got one of the big flashing signs as you're coming in.
And as
But we had it way down there before the red light.
Yeah.
We can do that. You can get those temporary flashing signs.
Yeah, we did it one year, but I think we had it too far out, but I don't know. But anyway, I think maybe that would get their attention. I don't know. Put the car back out there. They put the empty.
The fake car.
I don't
know a lot
know.
of people at Palladium trying to pull out, complain
No,
about
it's
people going.
Jay,
Yeah.
I mean, it's everywhere right there. I just,
People problem.
they had a wreck at Dollar General one night and the next morning and then checks. It's like, it was like boom, 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 boom.
The more traffic you get, the more wrecks you're gonna have. It's just and then, I mean,
Cuckoo.
it's sad, but
Everybody's on vacation.
even their brains.
Wouldn't be opposed to a meeting, but I sure would want to cover a whole lot
Yeah.
different, mutual things. So not just speed, but if there's other issues with the roadways need to be bigger.
I
better.
got you.
I mean, I'd rather have it where we have all of our ducks in a row and let's call it, if it's even warranted, but if, for any future discussions, if we felt like we're following on deaf ears.
And certainly the widening of 361 is already on their radar and they've already put that on their agenda and that they're already appropriating the funds to go to that next step. So that is not something that's being ignored. That's already in process. But I think if there are other different issues that we want to discuss with them, I mean, we can request them to come and we can mention them, to them. That's up to y'all.
But I guess my main thing was the speed limit from 1 a.m. You try to get out there every day.
In our city limits, they set the speed on that road.
On that portion of the highway, yeah.
That's not us.
Still a highway.
Okay, no matter what. And then we just enforce.
And then signage, I guess it goes through them too. Any type of signage that goes on 361, is that all through them or is that?
I mean, we can and David chime in, because I know you're on there. I mean, can't we on our own get like those temporary reduced speed signs? We don't have to go to them to request those, correct?
If you're placing it on the highway, I think you need something from them.
We did it. How'd you do it last time?
On the sidewalk? If we put, because you can go.
Rick,
highway
ask
there.
Rick how where we got
Rick's
those,
not
but I
here.
think we
Rick's
had
not
to sign
here.
off.
We
Oh,
did
he's
it.
not there. I'm texting with him, but I think we,
Yeah, I think we did get their approval,
Rick
I
went
thought,
and
for
rented
the,
one, and it was a lot cheaper. He was surprised how cheap it was for the whole month.
So I think the ones that flash the speed that you're going is
Yes.
helpful too.
Yes.
You're doing 60, it's 45.
and that one
They
did
used to
do
have one
that.
out there on 360.
Yeah, we had,
Yeah,
I
that's
asked
right, I
for it
remember.
last time and Rick rented one, and like you said, it was pretty reasonable.
Can we ask Rick to go get that?
We can, if that's something that y'all would like for staff to look into, we can ask him to look into getting the portable sign again to put somewhere within that 1A, boundary.
Yeah.
Something north of 1A, and then possibly look at it, adding additional reduced speed limit notification signs, maybe some that flash or
Right.
have better reflection or something like that.
Yes, something, I mean, something.
I mean, the speed test or whatever that you're talking, that's been talked about, the risk of they do it and then it goes up, that'd be bad. Oh,
Yeah, Rick said he did get TxDOT for that, by the way.
What was that, David?
Rick said he did get TxDOT permission for that flashing speed limit reduction mobile cart.
Okay, well, do y'all want to direct staff to look into that and getting something like that
I
again?
think that'd be a start.
Sure.
At least,
Anything to help.
yes.
But you'd want it north of 1A, not south of 1A.
It sounds
Yes.
like north of
Last
1A.
year it was south
It was
of
south.
1A. It was
It was.
before the light,
Both.
because the light slows you down.
North of one.
Anyway.
And after the light.
I drive that every day. Slows me down.
Yeah, maybe right. Okay, so some kind of temporary flashing sign. And then maybe looking at a more permanent solution that's got something that better notifies drivers that there's reduced speeds.
Are we doing these temporary signs June, July, August, or are you thinking year round, or what are y'all thinking?
I mean,
It's worse than the
if we
summer, for
rent
sure.
one, we could possibly get it in place, maybe at the end of summer for the next big holiday weekend. That may be helpful.
Just when the heavy traffic's here,
I think all the time.
you think so?
I think they speed whether there's a lot of traffic or.
They do.
Better traffic.
It's a lot of the construction guys.
Yes. I know.
Well, I got behind, that was the one that called 911 on the right in front of Dollar General, and it was two tourists. So,
Well, I know.
I mean,
I'm
but
saying,
you're right. I
I'm
mean,
there
there's-
every
yeah.
morning, like looking at them.
Yeah.
I mean, like when we're off season.
I like, there's the new ones out that have the police flashing lights
Yes,
when you're
Mhm.
speeding.
yes. That's what I was
That's a
talking
good-
about.
That's
psychological.
They have them on SPID.
Yeah,
Yes, they do.
they tell you what your speed is.
They-
Yeah.
Yeah.
School's gonna start.
They make
me slow down and I'm not even speeding.
Yeah.
School will be starting too.
Makes you
aware,
Yeah, I've been riding my bike some mornings on 361 around 5:45 AM, and it's interesting, some of the ones that. well, shoot, when you go-
So Alistair Station, 11th Street, those are all the main thoroughfares now.
Okay, so you have that, Darla and Dave, Chief, everybody. So we want some of the, maybe the temporary flashing signs, maybe reduced sign ahead that have more blinking lights, whatever it is, some that flash what your speed is and what you should be at, just something that would make it more apparent that it's time to reduce your speed.
And it's compliant with the sign ordinance, right?
Take you 2 more minutes to get that beer or margarita.
Maybe.
Whatever they're going for,
Make sure I'm breaking it.
late for work. I don't know.
Something.
Okay, that's a good item. Any other discussion on
Got
that?
it.
No, I think that's a start.
That's a start, absolutely, yeah. Okay, all right, we'll move on to staff reports. Start with Darla.
You have the written report in the packet. Kind of wanted to point out hotel motel tax was, my jaw dropped when I did the report. It was up 80% for the month, which is your month of rentals in May. So we're at 27.6% for the first 9 months of the fiscal year. Just a little word of caution that last year, June looks low. 517,000. If you remember, we were going through changing our credit card processor and the property managers were kind of having a problem getting that bulk filing done that first month. So some of that payment of that 517 was shifted down to the July of 1.4 million the next month. But tax was technically due today, and I know that we're over 1.3 million for collections today for this current month. And we always have people some stragglers that don't pay by the due date. So I'm optimistic. I think we're going to break last year's record. So
So year to date, 27%.
Year to date, 27.7, yes.
through May.
Through May, first 9 months, so. And I know, some of our big property managers, we had to increase our limit today for them to pay via e-check because we had it set at like 350 and their transactions were larger than that, so. Good sign that things are moving up in that hotel tax collection. Sales tax though is just flat. It's just up 0.21% for the fiscal year. Harbor looks like it's down because it's down about 16% for the fiscal year to date, but that fourth quarter bill has not been sent out. It was sent out in July versus June, whereas last year it was sent out in June. Golf plates though, we're ahead of where we were last year, so by quite a bit. So if you have any other questions though, I'd be happy to answer. Don't forget, we have our budget meeting August 8th. That'll be your next meeting.
Just a small question, it's real short, and sweet. On page 53, just a nature preserve project. I was just looking at the activities and stuff and it shows a bottom line negative of 233. I was just 233K. I was just curious.
It's nature preserve. So for the operation portion, we take from hotel motel and make it whole. But for grants, they've got a lag on paying, and Ray spent a lot of money this year through a local parks grant, and we've spent the money and we haven't gotten reimbursed yet.
Okay, so that's good.
So that's exactly what that is. So.
Okay, any other questions for Darla? Darla, how's the budget looking?
Oh, no.
It's looking, huh?
It's
Yeah.
looking, it's
I know you don't
staring,
have your numbers yet, but I mean, you're
staring back
getting.
at me every
Okay.
day.
Yeah, okay, good. Well, keeping you busy, I'm sure.
So just, I should know this, but not that smart. So the golf cart permits and the STR fees, where does that income go?
The golf cart permit and the STR registration is general fund.
General fund, okay. That's
Mhm.
what I thought, but I just wanted to make sure.
Okay. All right. Lawrence, you're next, sir.
Good evening. I'm gonna touch on the projects that have, changes in progress, but if there are any questions, just let me know as I kind of get through this. For the airport fuel tank, that project is now complete. They did a fantastic job on that. We got a few more add-on parts they're recommending, but they're not critical. Just add-on features that we'll probably put on a little later once I get an estimate from them, but it's up, it's online, and it's doing great.
Can I ask you a quick question since we already skipped the airport expansion Texas Aviation? It
Yes.
says the Texas Aviation anticipated going to bid in summer 2023. Have they gone to bid or do we know when that is?
Great question. So I just got the phone call from them.
Skipped it, so.
Yes, yesterday. So I was gonna update Dave on that whenever he got
Oh,
back.
no, we get to know before Dave.
So here's the update. Just got-
Yeah.
On a 3-second delay.
Yeah.
We get it first.
We get it first. Ah, we're gonna tell him something.
Yeah. So I just got a phone call.
have
The tech.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, you already know?
Oh, come on. Tell us.
Darla, so I guess.
Oh.
No, I didn't tell him, but we've had discussion with her for the last.
Oh,
year.
okay.
I
Anyway,
hear that in Mexico before you guys here.
Oh, gosh.
So she called, she said they just got the architecture uploaded into their system and they're anticipating hopefully a bid in about a month. And city's portion, we need to come up with $400,000 because obviously this has increased over the years that this was, planned out, maybe 10 years ago, something roughly like that.
Started in 2012.
Long time.
So talk with
This
Darla
grant.
about that. We've got funding. And whatever we're missing there, I guess we're probably gonna put it in the budget.
We're gonna have to dial into this year's budget.
And I did ask Stephanie while I had her on the phone, that won't be a problem, right? Having the money October 1. She said, not a problem. So we're looking good.
Okay,
So-
so maybe goes to bid in August or early September.
She said she's hoping in a month or so to quote her.
Okay,
Yeah.
you'll update us next month then, I'm sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right.
Sorry, literally just got that phone call yesterday.
Okay,
So I'm circling that one. That one's a priority one.
No, just kidding. We've only been talking about it for 10 years, so.
Yeah, sorry. Okay. Well, with that, with the animal shelter, I'll give you a small one on that. I'm still waiting to hear back from the Wilson County No-Kill Animal Shelter, did talk with the executive over there. Her name's Elena. She was gonna get with their board and get us, I just keep saying, I really need a number. Let me know what that number is and then we can talk terms. But she told me that she will be getting with her board, so hopefully I have something to present to y'all soon, definitely for the budget. For our August 8th budget coming up.
Okay. I had a discussion recently with Judge Scott, and the county has a huge grant to build a huge, fancy, big animal shelter in Oasis County.
Mhm.
I don't know what their capacity is going to be, but if they, and then they also are facing some pretty substantial shortfalls with their budget, depending on what happens with their taxes. But that's maybe an option that we consider with them going forward too. If there's something, I mean, I don't know if there's any kind of interlocal or county agreement or something, but if they have a big facility and it's some option
Right.
for us and it's closer and easier, you know.
Do you think they're really proceeding? Cause you may have newer news than I, but I know I read an article, it was gonna be $4 million for this new place. And I think they went through design. I think city manager Parsons called them and he talked to someone and they said, it was out the window, but maybe it's revived. I don't know.
Well, as of yesterday, it's still a possibility. So.
Okay.
We just need to keep all options open,
Definitely.
you know.
Yeah. All right, Bill, maybe what we can do is kind of consider the terms, what would this contract be versus this? What is you guys' honestly, so marketing plan, how do you get these animals adopted out? Because this one is really successful.
Mhm.
If you think about it, I mean, they're getting animals from Bear County and everything, and they have a 95% adoption rate. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I can tell you, we've been working with BJ a little bit. We've been over there volunteered quite a bit.
Mhm.
We've got a lot of volunteers together. Everything's pretty cleaned up. We had a little adoption day. We've moved 4 or 5 dogs out and some cats, and what's happening is there's another girl that comes in and she takes the pictures and writes these real cute little sayings and everything, and people are starting to call about them.
Good.
So I don't think that was happening before. And so now we've just been working on this the last 2 or 3 weeks and we're getting some feedback from it. A lot more funds. And stuff
awareness,
like that. So I think BJ is really gonna be a good person to be in there, and I think
There's talks.
I think he gets a chance of maybe.
Maybe we can run a dog through at the council session,
Yeah.
put them on the.
I think so.
Yeah, when I have that, have a
One
little mini
set
dog
up
show,
here.
start getting them adopted.
That's good. That's good.
Okay.
All right, moving on. So I will keep you guys updated very soon on that. It's still in the works, and things are progressing there. Just on their end, we're kind of waiting on them, but I'm assured that they're in the talks. Charlie's Pasture Pier, small update there. That will open, of course, once the ADA concrete ramp is completed. It's not completed because we have handrails on back order. We are being told they should be in mid next month. It really shouldn't take that long to put on. So we have a preliminary kind of planned out grand opening, most likely around Labor Day. So we hope to get y'all more information on that and get that planned out for that little ceremony, kind of like the last one we did for the one on Station Street.
And before we give that official opening, we're going to make sure and clean up the whole area around there, right? Because it's still very much a construction zone,
Right.
especially now that they're putting all this big rock and construction down there. But I mean, it's not very conducive to having a bunch of vehicles pull up and start piling on the pier.
Correct. Yeah, the drive it's a little rough. It's cleaned up better now, but yeah, it can definitely be smooth a little bit better. I don't know if we had in the complete design of this of redoing the entire parking lot there. I don't know if that's going to be a future thing, but we will certainly get it to where no one's falling in holes or anything like that.
That's important.
Yes.
Or so the EMS doesn't have to come down there and patch someone up because
Yeah. The bulkhead.
One other thing
Yes.
too, the bulkhead, speaking of, especially down there, I talked to David about it, but especially in light of the way that the wave action still does, absolutely. Sometimes it encroaches, obviously, the top of even the new bulkhead. We need signage down there on that wall, on the inside of the wall that clearly says, do not cross over the bulkhead, because I see people do it all the time, even though the area is not open. They climb over the 4-foot wall and they literally stand on the 1 foot of concrete that is between the back of the wall and the water, basically, because they want to get to the fish there.
Right.
That's such a dangerous thing, because before they would stand on the edge, the ship wake would come, they could get, they could run and move back because they have no idea that the wake is going to cause this massive wave, right? So
Right.
now they're getting behind a big, huge concrete wall
Right.
that is not easy to scale.
Yeah.
And they're going to get seriously hurt or go into the ocean
Right.
because they're behind a wall they shouldn't be behind.
I agree. Now they will fall on riprap.
Yeah, now they're gonna fall on a bunch of riprap. So let's make sure that we get some clear signage that delineates, do not cross this wall. Please.
Definitely.
And it probably
you know,
needs to go all the way down the whole way.
Yeah, definitely. We'll look into that. So Jim and Terry pretty much updated y'all on the bulkhead. But if there's any questions, just let me know. We're trying to do a record where we're talking whether it's gonna be the shortest meeting we ever had or not, so I better keep this going. Let's see, gas distribution system, Terry updated y'all on that. If you have any questions, please let me know. We are trying to figure out what's going on with the other bore companies that are in town, so we're working on that, trying to have a powwow to see if we can kind of bring them a little bit in. But I don't know how much power we do have over them. They don't have permits with us or anything like that. It's a little bit wild west with the cable companies, but we're gonna try our best to talk with them.
And I know you've been working on that, Lawrence, so I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because I know that's, yeah.
Harbor boat ramp, harbor bulkhead cap repairs, harbor dock 12, dock 11, Peggy Ann. All of those have been awarded. Boat ramp, that will start after Labor Day. That's just going to be replacing some of the caps on the dividers that are there. The bulkhead, that should start August 3rd. Basically, right now, Harbor Master is Barcom. They're working on the bulkhead right now. But Mako will be taking docks 2 and 3 section, which is adjacent to the Harbor Master, closer to the jetties. So that'll be occurring with Mako. Dock 12, that's been demoed. They should start setting piles and framing that up next. That should start July 24th with the piles. Dock 11, that'll start after Labor Day, and that is a separate contractor. Peggy Ann, that will be demoed September 1st. And we've been in talks with Bo, and we're trying to figure out, we got something figured out so he can continue to sell the shrimp while that's ongoing. The Harbor Master Building and Pavilion, Terry, give you an update on that. If you have any questions, let me know, but it's progressing. It's doing really well. They're putting their roof on right now, and it's looking really nice, especially that second story. Y'all gonna like that there. Really cool view. Harbor Fish House remodel, that's been awarded. Awarded that to South Texas Building Partners, and they will start after Labor Day. Paradise Pond Boardwalk Extension, sidewalk forming is completed. That's from Channel Vista to the community park area. An ADA compliant crosswalk is being cut in and being formed. New concrete will be poured. That's ongoing right now. On the Port Arthur Street, Port Mansville Street, near the most southern portion of those streets. Public Safety Building, Terry updated that y'all on that. But the skinny on that, I've been working on that, and that's probably why I'm so sunburnt. I've been out there with the teams working on this all week. They're gonna put up construction fence, I think basically this weekend on the start of the week. We need to get all the vehicles out of there by the end of this week and all the storage equipment out and everything out of there by the end of next week for the stored items. So that included gas department, Parks and Rec, and then, some police things. So we're working on getting everything out of there, getting some Connex boxes, getting things stored. We're knocking out an ADA ramp over there also for the police station. That's where our construction fence is going. So I've been working with the team where we made our own, professionally engineered by me. It's going to work out great. And dealing with the other neighboring properties, talking to them about getting some of their stuff off the property. So things are going smoothly. We're going to make our deadlines with our contractors in that fenced area. Roberts Point Park bathroom remodel, that's been awarded. The demo is going on right now for the restroom closest to the boat docks. After they're done with that, then the other restroom will be undertaken. And we got a 4-stall skidoo can also out there for the ones that are being renovated. Are there any questions?
Thanks for putting all this together.
Yeah.
I've just dug into it way more these last couple of months, but you got over $81.5 million worth of projects listed here.
Yeah.
And That's a lot of work, a lot of stuff.
It really is. It's probably the most amount of projects I've seen a city undertake in my experience, but I love it. It's really fun.
Welcome to Port. Keeps you busy.
Yeah.
All right. Great job.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you, Laura. Okay, so I know Rick is not here, so
Here,
just.
But there was one thing I wanted to
Written
talk
report.
about on his, he put a written report in the
Mhm.
packet. And on the second page, I just wanted to point out the STR registrations, because I know that was a big discussion at the last meeting.
Mhm.
So, having an STR specialist, we realized one thing, we were printing the report and telling the number of active registrations. There's a little box in there that says delinquent. And we weren't clicking that. And delinquent means if they're 1 day late on their property tax, hotel motel tax, or 1 day late on doing an account information sheet, like updating a property manager or something like that, anything's outstanding, it wasn't counting them in our active registration count. And when I was looking at the dollars after the last meeting, I'm like, we have had like 2,700 register pay. And I'm like, that's money. It's black and white.
Mhm.
What's going on? So really, as of the report, when Rick did it was 2,630. As of today, we have 2,654 active registrations right now. So that's a big difference than what we reported to y'all last month. So I just wanted to point that out. So it is a lot more than we've ever had registered.
That's where just then you look at the STR registration, it was 175 per licensee.
Correct.
So that's over 464K. And then if you look at the golf carts, we got 5,521 and $150. That's 828,000.
Yes, it's putting over 1.4 million, 1.3 million into our general fund every year. Mhm.
Which we need to pay for all those extra people that takes the man and all that.
Yes.
Yep, for sure.
And I know the Civic Center acoustic, he has awarded a contract quote. We've got that in the works.
So that's, so it's accepted and it says attached quote, which is fine. We don't need to see the attached quote, but that's moving forward.
It is moving forward. We've done a PO for everything, but the AV projector, we're going to wait and put in next year's budget after September 30th.
Okay.
But the others, I'm sorry. David was looking, zooming in on his phone, on the screen. Yes, that'll be in after September.
Okay. But you say it's going to be the next year's budget, but is it going to get completed at the same time? It's just that actual item is going to be in the.
No,
next
that
budget?
actual item will be completed after October 1. I don't know if they could get it for the projector,
Okay.
but everything else should be in by September 30th.
Okay. Any other questions on any of the developmental services reports? All right. Mr. Johnson, it's your turn.
You alive, Daniel?
Barely, right? Busy.
We've been rocking and rolling, as y'all know.
Yes.
Call volumes up, transports are going crazy. Call volume for the month and for the year, everything's up. And including mutual aid calls, we've had Tri-County and Corpus over here multiple times. Pretty much every single weekend since the weekend before Memorial Day. So I met with some of the CCFD people yesterday. I'm in close chats with the Tri-County chief over there, and they're all just willing to help, and they're kicking in wherever they can. We've actually gone over there. We went to Tri-County, I think 6 times last month. And we went to Corpus, of course, for both of the fatality wrecks. So we transported out both of those. So it's been going both ways. Like I said, 156 calls. Average response time, it's up just a little bit, but we've had just such horrendous traffic and a few, and then the Cinnamon Shore. South calls, it's they're way out there. And so there's a higher volume because there's a lot more people out there. And so it's taking us a lot longer to go out there. So I was kind of tracking all of our longer calls and that's been one of our biggest culprits.
What are most of the calls that are out there? Are they beach related
You
too,
name it.
just because there's people out there?
Golf cart wrecks, still there's alcohol, heat related, it's everything. Everything
Yeah.
is standard in town. It's the same out there.
Same out there, it's just,
They got their own population.
Right.
And so the more that's out there, the longer it's gonna take us to get out there.
So you have to go down there and come back, but if we had the other road, you could go out.
Well, I mean, even inside the neighborhood, not
Yeah.
necessarily the beach, it just takes us longer to get
Yeah,
6 or 7
even
miles
in
down
the
that road
neighborhood.
versus inside. So
down there.
it's
Got it.
kicked up a little bit, but it's not bad. As far as canceled false alarm calls, it's kind of increased a little bit, but once again, we get called to something like we got called to one today where we went out there and they thought somebody was drowning and lifeguards got them out. So we got canceled before we ever got there. So, more people on the beach and you're going to have higher ones. Let's see here. And then, we did do we hosted a CPR instructor class. Albert, one of our guys, he is a instructor for that, so he can teach the other instructors. And so we hosted one with AHA and Driscoll at the community center, and 3 of our people actually went in it. And so we have additional instructors now, so that'll continue to help out. And the standby events, of course, the slime run and then the pole vault event. And this month's kudos goes to Lawrence because he was out there with a shovel working with those guys for last weekend. And it did not go unnoticed. Okay, hopefully everybody saw people were calling me going,
job,
"Hey,
Lawrence."
Lawrence up there sweating.
But he's getting a good tan.
Look at Rick.
Any other questions? or anything?
No, sir.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Daniel.
All right, chief.
Lawrence wears many
LT,
hats.
whoever's next.
Well, it's too bad Rick's not here, so he can hear me brag about all the work I put in on doing this delineator post mock-up for you here in the last. So if he was here, he could use his Aggie engineer.
Uh-huh.
Tell me how well I did my little.
Uh-oh. That's right. That's right.
This is a mock-up that the golf cart delineators that are gonna start installing on the sidewalk along 361. The plan is to put them everywhere there's a ramp coming onto the sidewalk. The river won't like to get over.
The brickway.
When it gets run over, so you get past it, you're gonna have to run over it. So hopefully, somebody will hear the click, click, click underneath their golf cart and figure out that maybe something's wrong. And this is just the first mock-up. We don't know exactly how the signage is gonna read. It'll be something similar to that. And those should be starting pretty quick, I think. But as a police department, we're coming off of about a 68-day spring break right now.
68.
Right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
It's been a very spring break like summer. We've been chasing juvenile parties around. They use their technology to do these flash mob parties.
Right.
And we can get 100, 150 kids pop up in about 25 or 30 minutes. And they know when we're coming and we get close to breaking them up and they scatter, and then an hour or two later, they're popping up someplace else. And
Oh, wow.
we've had some success pushing them into Corpus Christi, but they just turn around and push them back to us, so.
It's a back and
Uh,
forth. Yeah,
But
it
we
seems
are
like
starting to
during,
monitor their apps, so we can see when they're forming and trying to get officers over there before they form up. And we worked a little bit with some of the neighborhood groups also, particularly down around Marker 40. In that
I was gonna
area.
say marker 42 is right behind my house. I at night during 4th of July, I thought there was a concert going on down there.
Yeah.
Was that a big area then?
They go a little further down too sometimes. They go down a little further sometimes.
Yeah,
too.
we've pushed them all the way up and down past Mustang Towers and
Yeah.
that area, and then Corpus comes around and pushes them.
Evil ping pong.
The culprits seem to be coming out of Portland and Ingleside, and so it's just been a constant chase. The more we do golf cart enforcement, the more violations seem to occur. It seems to be going back pass backwards from what you would expect. 155 golf cart related citations last month. And that's just golf cart related citations. The poor municipal court, I think we issued 945 citations last month. A chunk of those are parking tickets. About a little over a third of them, a little under a half are parking citations. But we're running on those people to death, and we're working on the electronic ticket writers to help streamline that process a little bit. Quite a few significant events. I didn't really highlight them all. I did want to talk about our hiring and keep you all informed on where we are. We're just wrapped up the background check on our patrol officer. Sent him an official offer letter. He's been waiting on an offer letter for him so he can get his mortgage finalized to move down here. So we're targeting August 20th to get the next patrol officer online, and we're just waiting on documentation. The state requires us to have certain documentation in place for our employees, and then we're waiting on like college transcripts and high school transcripts for our dispatch applicant. That's the only thing we're waiting on are those transcripts. So hopefully we can have our dispatch completely filled in the next couple of weeks. And then we're working on a regional police job fair that'll be up in Robstown week after next week. Time's running together here. So we've got 30 agencies going to be represented, and hopefully we can convince one or two more to drop some applications, some qualified people to drop some applications with us. I just came back from the Texas Police Chiefs Association meeting where I'm dressed like this. I've been traveling all day, sorry. And it is not unique to Port Aransas or the Coastal Bend. Every department in the state is running shorthanded, and just trying to convince people that be cops instead of firemen or EMS, that work half as much and get paid twice as much. It's a tough sell these days, but that's where we stand. Any questions from anybody on anything?
Are the beach parking permit violations up because we now have 2 people working it, or are we not selling?
We only have one working now.
Well, we had two, but we just transferred one of them. We promoted him into the animal control, the second vacant animal control position. So we're back down to one. But yes, that's part of it. We got 7 days coverage right now. We've only been running 4 with one part timer, and hopefully we can get that position that's been posted. So hopefully we get that position filled and get here pretty quick.
I think it's the jet ski.
We're clean.
Cleaning out the jet ski.
Okay. Good report. Any other questions for Chief? Thank you for the visual aids. Yeah,
Did it myself.
yeah, looking good.
They got a lot of guards really actually.
That's what I heard, yeah.
Oh, awesome.
I think that's awesome. Yeah. So for those of you who didn't know, and help me, but they had a like a lifeguard Olympics, if you will. That's a slang term, but Galveston and South Padre came up. And yesterday,
It was regional competition.
Right,
I don't know who
yeah.
all came, but
I think it was very successful. Yeah. And our lifeguards did very well. Yeah.
Been a big help. We had a missing 13-year-old. And she ended up 5 miles. When she all
kept
hands on deck. It was nice having 20 lifeguards.
Yeah, they're amazing. They help us huge.
Well, I think y'all have done a great job training some good folks. So that's good.
yeah, we ended up with 26 guards this year.
That's a lot.
Mhm. More than we've ever had.
All right. So item 9, city council comments and items for future consideration. David, we skipped you, but I didn't see you on the agenda for your report, but do you have a report? Is there something you need to tell us or say?
No, I'm back Sunday, so I will see you guys shortly.
Okay. All right. Enjoy your vacation. Back to item 9, any comments or items for future consideration? Anybody? Yes, sir.
When was the last time we tried the Easy Pass registration? Remember we tried to
Easy
do it
pass,
for
you
the
mean
fair.
priority
The
boarding?
ferry.
Priority boarding.
Priority boarding.
5 years ago.
Before the hurricane,
Would it be time
before the hurricane.
to look at doing that again to see if there's an interest in the city or no?
We can do that. We can put that on the agenda for next month for discussion.
Okay.
Direct staff to get some information about whether or not that's still an option.
Or that. If TxDOT has the parameters that requires us, for us to understand and even have it out there. So the public can decide, no, I don't, yes, I do, so that if we do take a poll again. We either are able to be successful with having it for people or there's just not the interest. Okay?
Yeah, their parameters may have changed, their rules, right, which is what
'Cause they're not
stipulated,
ours.
right, which would make the difference on whether or not we can move forward with the program. So yeah.
Okay.
So if we want to make that an agenda item, we'll add that to the agenda for next month and
Information
yeah.
to discuss.
sure, yeah, I think that's good, worth discussion for sure.
And not to keep hitting on traffic, but just one observation is when school starts. There, Allister and Avenue C. Just that crosswalk there, there's a lot of times I'll go to pick up my girls and I'll just sit there and stop, especially in the middle, because people won't for those kids. And a lot of times you'll see 3 or 4 of them. I know it's small stuff, but they'll sit there, there'll be 4 or 5 of them waiting and nobody will stop
Yeah.
to let those kids go through. So
So are you because I know that we did last year, because I remember specifically asking the same thing. Are we restriping, which we did right before school, so you could see the crosswalks, but are you suggesting or requesting that maybe there's some kind of crosswalk assistance there? Because I agree, it's a very heavily trafficked.
I don't want, this is a really bad idea, a temporary forced stop for a certain time where everybody's got to stop for an hour. I mean, or just do the traffic, maybe a temporary 4-way stop. I don't know. That's the reason why.
Flashing sign between 2 and 4.
Yeah, I have to rely on you guys because like I said, I just see it and I just.
Right.
and
At
it's,
C and A,
well, we're there at
Is that-
Allister, just going.
Right,
across
right.
Island Cafe, Jerry McDonald.
Right,
coming over to
but
American Bank.
I think there's a high traffic. I think there's high traffic from children, both at C and A, but especially A. Only because that's a direct right into the middle
Right.
school, so.
Okay, yeah, I just drive it.
Right, yeah, no, I agree. Okay, so maybe we have staff look at some additional options for enforcement or crosswalk delineation, blinking sign, something
Yeah, maybe something like that.
during school time. Okay,
I don't know if anybody goes to the beach, but does anybody know just other vendors like throwing up a trailer that folds out to a bar and says rent me, on the
I
beach.
haven't seen it on the beach, but I've seen it.
I've seen it on the beach and it says rent me and then there's a couple of them. I think Dave says ones they rent out for special events, but then the Kona ice guy was down there, it seems like everybody's coming from out of town and bringing something to rent on the weekend or during the summer. So I don't know. I'm not down there every day, so I don't know how often it's happening.
like non-legal beach
Yes,
vending
yes.
is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so is that an item y'all want to have staff look into?
Yeah, you can.
Okay,
A lot of people are looking for events for parties.
No,
I think a lot of people are looking for parties and events. I know somebody that is, they sit right in front of their group. And then they have like a big party and.
Yeah,
gather and-
that's different if you come get a permit and it's a special event or something. But when you have rent me sitting out in front of it and they have to, who wants to? They bring a trailer that folds down to a bar. So you're gonna pay $1,000 to sit in this trailer on the beach? I guess. I don't know.
somebody might be.
I guess so. I guess if that's your thing, but. It just
Okay.
seems like there's more and more people doing stuff down there.
Okay, maybe we'll look into that and see. Maybe they're all getting permits. I don't know.
Maybe they are, maybe, yeah, I don't know. It shouldn't have a sign out saying rent me.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, so real quick on the dates, Darla, our budget meeting is on the 8th.
The 8th.
Is that still a good date for everybody, the 8th
I think it's on my calendar.
At 5.
at 5, 7th?
RDC will be a little bit before the city council
At
meeting,
4.
probably 4.
Okay,
Mhm. RDC at 4, council at 5.
Okay, yeah.
And then our meeting was moved to the 15th.
right. Our regular council meeting will be Tuesday, the 15th, right? Okay.
And David lost connection, but we heard him.
Oh,
We can text him. if we need him. Margarita.
So the 8th, 4 and 5 o'clock, and then the 15th.
At 3 o'clock, right? On the 15th?
We did talk about doing it early on the 15th at 3 o'clock, so you guys could get to your,
Oh, at 3.
training, which is the next
I
2
forgot
days,
that.
but it's far away, no one to drive. So is that still, are we still set on 3 o'clock?
That's good for me.
So we're there on 17 and 18. Is that right? And we're gonna have our
16th and
17th.
we're 16th and 17th,
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
and we're having the meeting on the 15th.
Mhm.
At
At 3,
3?
so you can drive to wherever it is, San Antonio, San Marcos, whatever.
And then the September 7th.
Correct.
RDC in. Okay.
RDC and council both on September 7th also.
Okay, so the RDC will be at 4. And then
Anything?
regular city council meeting on September 21st.
Oh,
I
yeah,
didn't get that
that's
far.
on down.
Okay, well,
I didn't get that far.
I gotta do that because I've already got people booking appointments for
So I'm
September.
sure you
so,
are.
yeah. So now I'm
Okay,
gonna have to change
So we got
that
the
3
regular
o'clock.
meeting on the 15th at 3.
Charlie Roberts.
Yes,
Regular meeting 15th at 3.
yes.
And then on the 8th at 4 or 5?
5,
5.
unless you're on RDC. Did you get appointed to that?
No.
Okay. Then you're good.
All right.
All right. Anything else? Okay, we're adjourned.
6:30 exactly.
6:30. Great job. We were efficient. Oh, good.